All right, let's go ahead and get started with today's quick start. So thanks again for joining. My name is Cameron, and I lead the customer success team here at ActivePipe. What we're going to do today is talk through probably the one, two, three, the basics of getting started with ActivePipe. So what you're looking at right here in ActivePipe is your dashboard. So this is essentially your home screen. So every time you access ActivePipe, this is where we're going to bring you. For today, we're not going to spend too much time here on the dashboard since we're going to talk about a number of the reporting analytics that we have in your account. So what we're going to do first and foremost is talk a little bit about how we're getting contacts in here. So over on the left-hand side of the page, anytime you need to navigate around ActivePipe, you're going to see as you hover the mouse over on the left, you have a bunch of options for different sections of your account. So the first one we're going to talk about is your contacts page. So when I select contacts, this is going to bring me in to my contact list. So these are all of your contacts that have been added into ActivePipe. As you can see in my account, we have an example of 5,800 contacts that are in here, 2,900 of which are actually subscribed to one of our distribution lists. What you can also see on this page is your contacts in total. So if I go to the contact list section, this is going to show you everybody who's in your account. So here's all 5,800 of my contacts. Now, if you do want to start to find people and sort and filter right here on the contact page, you can always do that by the headers. So as you'll see when I select name right here, we're filtering by alphabetically first names. And then if I scroll over to the right, we can do the same for email, and we can do the same for updated. So a bunch of ways to play around with your contact information right here. If you ever do need to download an entire list of your contacts and you prefer to work through Excel and create your lists in there, you do have the option to select download right here on the contact page. So that is always an option, and you'll always be able to do that. Over on the right, you can see we have even more filters. So if you want to filter your contact page by attributes, you have the option to do that by selecting our filters. One final thing that you can also do is if you need to see a specific person, let's say they asked to be included into a distribution list or they needed to be excluded from one that you have set up right now, you can always do that with our magnifying tool up here in the top right corner. So we just select the magnifying and I can search for myself just by typing in my name. Here's Cameron Brown at ActivePipe. It populates right here. And now I can click in to see my full profile. So right here, you're going to see basically the engagement per contact. So once you see all of the sends, you'll see, are they opening the emails that you're sending? Are they interacting with those emails? And then over here on the right side of the page, at a contact level, you'll be able to see cumulatively what their interaction looks like. Are they opening those emails? And when you last actually sent them something. So a lot of helpful information right here at the contact level. A couple things to keep an eye on here for your contacts is number one, the three ellipses right here on the right side of the page. If you select these, you're going to have a screen pop out, and this is where you can edit contact information. So if you are manually uploading your own contacts and adding people individually without the use of a CRM, you have the ability to manage and edit your contacts right here in ActivePipe. So if you ever need to change someone's email, just click in and change that. You can add a phone number, you can add mobile, a street address, and anything else to these profiles right here. Now, if you're using a CRM and having that information flow in, you're going to make those changes within your contact management system, and then they'll be reflected here in ActivePipe, so you don't need to worry about creating contacts in here. We're simply going to use all of the contacts and tags that you have in your CRM to create your distribution list. Now, one final thing, since we are an email marketing program, it's helpful to know there's a couple ways for your contacts to unsubscribe from emails in ActivePipe. Number one, every email that you send out of the system, they are going to include an unsubscribe link at the bottom of the page. That is just going to be there by default and will allow your clients to always manage their own preferences. But if you would like and someone sends you an email offline, you can always go into their profile and you can manage their subscription. So you could unsubscribe the contact, or you can actually delete the contact. Now, one final thing here on timeline, you can see all of the emails that you've sent. So it's always helpful to have a quick glance to see what kind of messages you've sent to your client in the past. You can see all of those right here, and you can even choose a specific range to view those. So that's just helpful to know. Now, back on the main contact page, one other thing we want to talk about. So it's very easy to add contacts here in ActivePipe. So if you are manually uploading your own contacts and managing them in ActivePipe, you do have the option to select Add Contacts, Create, or Import. Now, with your contacts, to create your audiences and make it as easy as possible to do that, in your CRM, we're actually going to pull over your tags and your categories for those contacts to allow you to pull them into an audience. So if you're managing your own list right here, you can also do the same by just over on the right, hovering over that contact, selecting here, and then we can add our tags. And just like that, we can add a tag for a contact that we can use to easily build an audience. Now, again, if you are using a CRM, those tags are automatically going to flow in. So when it comes time to create your audience or send to a contact, you have the ability to do that. So I'm going to add one more in here as another example of a potential buyer. Click Save, and then we're good to go. So if we look back at these two, we'll now have, should have those tags added to that contact. Okay, so now they have an idea about how to get contacts into ActivePipe, and then how to look for some specific information about your contacts and kind of start to manage how you're organizing them through the use of tags. The next thing we want to talk about is jumping forward to how easy it is to build an email in ActivePipe. Since we're an email marketing platform, hallmark of a really good email system is making it as easy as possible for you to create content and send that to the right people. So over here on the left side of the page, we're going to hover our mouse over there again. And this time, we're going to go to our email section. So in our email section, what you're going to see now are all of the emails we've ever created within ActivePipe. So if you've added any into your account right now, you'll see all of those right here. You'll have the created date and the modified date. If you haven't yet, that's okay, because up here in the top right corner, you're going to have the option to create an email. So I'm going to select this green Create Email button. And when we do that, what this is now going to allow you to do is search through specific email templates. So what's the great thing about starting with ActivePipe at your brokerage is that your marketing team and your brokerage has gone in and created content for you to use immediately. So you don't have to worry about creating your own email templates that have the correct branding, design, and color schemes included. We've already taken the work, coordinated with your team to make sure those are available within your account. So I'm going to select one of our email templates here, and I'm going to send out a listings email. Now, when we do that, what you're going to see right off the bat here is that in the middle of the page, we have our ActivePipe branding in here. So this is going to be available. You don't need to worry about adding that stuff. Our header already includes the correct branding and design. As you scroll down through the body of the email, you're going to see the same thing in the footer. So these things are already included and you don't need to worry about it. What we also have the ability to do is remove this. So you see the section in the middle. We also have the option to remove stuff. So I'm going to start with a clean slate here, and we're going to start adding some things in. So since we're sending out a listings update email, what I'm going to do now is first focus on adding properties in, since we want to make it as easy as possible for you to communicate relevant and insightful information to your clients without worrying about what needs to be said. A couple of easy ways to do that is taking something like our property section and using a feature property. So if you have a property that has just listed and you're working with a client right now, and you actually want to share that out to a number of people, you can take our feature property icon, click and drag and drop that into the center of the email. Looks like that's locked. Let me actually go use a different one real quick. Okay, So now we're going to take this, we're going to drag and drop that here into the center of the page. Now, when we do that, you now have the option to add a property in. So in the lower right-hand corner, you see this house icon. We can select this. And when we do that, you now have access to all the properties available on your brokerage website. So we're pulling these in automatically for you. You don't need to build out that email and the property included in that email. All you need to do is either search by a physical address, the MLS ID, or it could be a city or a town. So we could take any one of these right here, and we can use those and pull it in to the email. So this is my demo account, so I'm going to take this one in the top left. And just like that, when we selected that property, you're going to see the image right here, front and center in our email. We're going to have the address for that property in San Francisco and the number of beds, baths, and square footage included in that property. So this could be something that we're sending out as an example of a listing that you just got and you want to share it with a specific group of people in ActivePipe. The other option is that we could take a grid or a list of properties. So we can drag our list view in, and when we do that, you can now start to either add those properties individually, like we just did, or we can use this button right here to access all of the properties and define what we want to include in this email. So here, we can actually set up something like the number of properties we want to show. We're defaulting to 2. As you scroll down, we can decide what kind of listing we want to show. We could show the status. And then we can order by specific dates. So I'm going to go newest to oldest. Click update. And now we have our 2 properties in here. Looks like this one is actually a duplicate. So we're going to go up to the top here. And for the sake of this example, let's actually show properties that have just sold too. And looks like they don't have images. So what we're going to do is actually delete this out, and we're not going to use that. So with that, we could also come in and add a grid. So when you go to add that grid, you can do the same thing, or you can select your properties down below. So just for the sake of this example, we can select our property here, select another property here, and now I'm going to actually limit what we're showing. So I'm going to show amenities, and I actually want to add in some more information. So I want to show the current price, and I want to change it to the number 2. So just like that, we customized our view. Now the final thing with each of these 2 sections is we want to throw in a quick header just so people know what we're looking at here. So I'm going to drag and drop a header in, and this is going to be just listed, and our one below is quickly going to be property. So just like that, we added in a featured property that we're working right now and an update for our clients about properties that have just sold. Now, that makes it super easy to not worry about what needs to be said. We're using the properties and the information that you're sharing to help you build that relationship with your client. The last couple things that you can do with ActivePipe, just to show you that they're available in here, you can also add in blog and video content. So as you scroll down on the right side of the page, you also will have the option to add in the media section, video. So when you drag and drop video in, you can now choose a video. So what we've done here is connect the ActivePipe YouTube channel, and this allows us to access any of these videos within ActivePipe and add them into our email. So if you want to add any of those, you have the option to do that. I'm going to remove this quickly. And then you can also do the same thing with blog content. One of the most insightful things that you can share with your client are relevant things that are happening in your area, whether showing them what's happening this weekend, interesting things happening around town. That's one of the most powerful ways that you can communicate with your clients. So in the lower right-hand corner, just to do this, you just select our blog right here, and any blog that is RSS capable, you can add that in by just adding a URL. And you'll see our example, I've added in the ActivePipe blog here in the lower right. And when I do that, all we're doing is just taking that information and the content that we have in our blog at ActivePipe, and we're adding it in so you can access it right here. So just like that, we added in a quick piece of blog content by just adding the URL, clicking on what we wanted to add, and now we'll populate that for you. So I'm going to remove this just for an example. Now, let's say we wanted to keep this strictly to what's currently being listed and what is just sold, and you want to start sending that out to people. The final step here is that at the top of the page, you're going to want to preview this. So anytime you go to create an email and then send it out in ActivePipe, you have the ability to see what it's going to look like in your client's inbox. So by selecting preview, we hit the drop down, and now you have the option to send yourself a preview, or you can view it right here. So I'm going to select view preview, and what you'll see now is our email template already set up. We've got our picture, we've got a quick introduction, and then we have our just listed property for this week, and then properties that have just sold down below. At the top of the page, you'll see you can toggle between desktop and mobile, and you can see how clean and professional that email is going to look on either a desktop or a mobile device. Now, if that looked good and you wanted to hit send, the final thing that we'll do is we're going to give this a quick name. So this is our listing update. We're going to save it. Make sure to save all of your content once you're done creating. We click save. And now when you click save, the next thing we want to start delivering this to people is going to be selecting quick send right next to it. Now, when you select quick send, what you can do, you can start taking specific contacts or tags, and you can start sending emails to those people. So we could take a tag that's being pulled over from our CRM, and we can say, here's my sphere that includes 2 people. I want to deliver this message to just those people. So you don't have to worry about building your audience, adding people to that here in ActivePipe. We can take the information that's being flown in from your CRM, and now at the point of sending in ActivePipe, we can take those categories that you've already built and start to deliver messages to those people. If you want to actually be even more exact on who you're sending this message to, you can type in their names. So we could pull in, I want to send it just to Cameron Brown, and I want to send it to Clarice. We click the 2 names, and now instead of selecting an audience or a tag, you're just delivering this to 2 specific people that you know will want this information. Now down below, the last step is to schedule this. So we're going to default to sending this out immediately. You do have the option to schedule. So if you select schedule, we'll just pick our date and time, and let's just use 9 a.m. on Monday, the 21st, as an example, and we click send. So just like that, we sent out our campaign. Now, once this is out the door, this isn't the last step here. I want to show you what you can actually see at the property level for everything that you're sending from ActivePipe. So over here, we're going to click return to emails. And the last section we're going to look at is our property section. And so while we want to make it as easy as possible for you to get your contacts and organize them within tags or audiences, and then start to send out content that's going to engage your clients and help you build relationships with them, what we also want to show you is what kind of action you can take after you send an email out. So on your properties page, you're going to see right here on the right side of the page, your most popular properties. These are essentially the properties that you're sending out that people are engaging with the most. So if we take a look at 1342 Hayes Street, when we do that, you're going to see some quick background information over here on the left about that property. So we have the address, the price, the status, bunch of good things to know about the property. Over here on the top of the page though, you're going to see the total number of recipients for this property. So these are all the people you sent it to. You're going to see the number of views for that property and the number of clicks. So now if you're thinking about the average database or contact list within ActivePipe that include roughly about 500 contacts per agent, that's a lot of people to figure out who you should be spending your time following up with. Instead, you can send out just listed emails. You can send out open houses that are happening for the upcoming weekend. Or you can build just a generic monthly newsletter that includes a couple properties. And now, once you start sending those things out, you're going to see who's engaging with that. So instead of worrying about the 500 people that are in your database and figuring out where you should be spending your time, you can come into the property section and just quickly glance and see who's been engaging with the properties that you're sending. And now you can take a look at that engaged list and you know who to be spending your time following up with. So we've got roughly about 10 to 12 people right here that include a name, an email, and our phone number. And what's great is we can see the number of clicks on that property. So you can see really who's the most engaged right here. If you select a name, that allows you to go view their contact profile. And then finally, what you can also do is use our handy interaction map. And this is going to take things just a step further, because now we can take a look about where this property is. So here we are right in central San Francisco, and we don't have any of our interactions happening right here. But if we scroll out a little bit, you'll see just down in South San Francisco, we have a number of people down here actually engaging with our property closer to downtown. So that could lead us to believe that these people are actually looking to relocate. So what this is going to do is just arm you with even more information and context. So when you do pick up the phone or you send that first email following up with them, you know exactly what you need to be talking about. So that's where I want to leave things today. That's a quick run through of the basics in ActivePipe, starting with getting contacts into the system and then going all the way through quickly building a really engaging email that's going to drive engagement with your contacts, and then what you can do after the fact to make sure you know who you should be following up with to find more opportunities. So with that, if you do have any questions about ActivePipe at all, feel free to reach out to our support team directly at support@activepipe.com. If you have more specific questions about how to do something within ActivePipe, we do have a very handy support page. So you can go to support@activepipe.com. And what that's going to allow you to do is actually search for specific topics. So if you have questions about getting contacts in or building an email, you can do that right here. You can also check our quick getting started guide and even training videos to watch more how-tos on specific things within ActivePipe.